you can get the referral credit. And if you're not signed up for SwanForce yet, go to swanbitcoin.com/enlist to get started. It's a great deal. Welcome to Swan Lounge, everybody. That was a fail. Sorry about that. We're going to restart the video and see where it goes. We've got some great guests for you today, so I'm going to give this one more shot, and hopefully it works. Oh, man. Thanks for bearing with us. 1 second. Gentlemen, how you doing? How you doing? Do me a favor, talk to each other. I've got to fix this video. We have to see it. It's too good. We're here with Tony and Matthew from Atomic Finance, and I'm not sure who the guy next to me is. He's a mysterious figure. Maybe he can tell you who he is. How you guys doing today?
It's good. It's good. Can't be better. But you know, Bitcoin's going up. You know, what can you say? Like it's just another day of humbly stacking sats as always.
I mean, 18K is, you know, kind of boring now, to be honest, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody was saying that yesterday. What did I say? I was like, basically, we're going to get to the point where $1 million becomes boring. And that's going to be something special.
Well, yeah, the question is that going to happen because Bitcoin goes up or the dollar goes down? Maybe both.
That's the real question. So I have a fun idea. We've got this mystery man to the right of us. Everybody in the chat, who do you think it is? Take a guess. Let us know. We'll put your guesses up on the screen, and then we're going to reveal who the invisible man is. You know him. You love him. That's all I'm going to say for right now. Let's see those guesses, folks. Is it Satoshi? No, it's not Satoshi. Caption, graphics, chat. Let's see. No, not Satoshi. Keep guessing. Who else we got? Come on. I want some guesses. Charlie Lee. No, we wouldn't have Charlie Lee on this channel. Are you crazy? Who else we got? Udi? Actually, Udi's a great guess. I would like to have Udi on here now that he's no longer on Twitter. He's no longer with us there. Any more guesses? Any more guesses? It's Breeze.
Yeah, sunglass OPSEC.
Mystery man, say something so our guests, they might recognize your voice. He's just not going to say anything. He wants to keep the mystery. All right, everybody. It's none other than the one and only GG.
I am not Raul Pal.
It's GG, everybody. It's GG. It's not Raul Pal. Definitely not Mark Cuban. The banana man. All right, ladies and germs, I'm going to try this intro one more time. And if it doesn't work, well, I'm going to put it on Twitter, and we'll deal with it later. So here we go. Cross your fingers. Let's see what we got. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoiners, pre-coiners, no-coiners, and shitcoiners, welcome to Swan Lounge, a weekly show in which you get to hang out with the Swan team and some of our friends from the amazing world of Bitcoin. We do this show every Friday, and it's called Swan Lounge because we are lounging. Unlike our more serious show, Swan Signal Live, Swan Lounge is about kicking it with our friends, talking about the week's biggest events in Bitcoin, and just having fun. Before we dive in, we're doing something that I think is very special. We're giving away Jan Pritzker's book, Inventing Bitcoin, for free in an effort to spread Bitcoin knowledge. You can go to swanbitcoin.com/freebook to claim your copy. We have it in 3 different ebook formats and MP3, read by our friend Guy Swan, no relation, over at Bitcoin Audible. All we ask is that you pay it forward by sharing the book with at least 3 friends and family, preferably more. And to all the SwanForce members out there, we've set up a way for you to give away the book to help you recruit new Bitcoiners. Look in your referral dashboard, and you'll find a link you can use to send people to your SwanForce landing page, so they can get the free book offer, and you can get the referral credit. And if you're not signed up for SwanForce yet, go to swanbitcoin.com/enlist to get started. It's a great deal. You'll earn 25% of Swan's fees on their purchases for 3 years. And your referral gets $10 of free Bitcoin if they become a Swan member and start saving $50 of Bitcoin a week or more. Also, make sure to watch to the end of the episode because we have a special segment called SwanForce Fridays, where we'll put our guests on the clock and give them 60 seconds to give us their best Bitcoin pitch. Finally, We all know that automatic recurring buys are the best and safest way to accumulate Bitcoin. But every now and again, you might just want to buy right now, which is why Swan is launching Buy Now very soon. Sign up at swanbitcoin.com/buy now to be one of the first Swan members to smash that Buy Now button. Before I let Brecky take over with our guests, one last thing. Please, pretty please, smash that like button and hit subscribe. Doing so helps us beat that no-good, dirty YouTube algorithm, which in turn will help us spread the good word about Bitcoin. And now, without any further ado, it's time for Swan Lounge. It worked. What do you guys think? That's the Swan.
Love it. That's awesome. You gotta get the cartoons in there to get the kids, get the millennials, get the Gen Zs buying Bitcoin.
Definitely. Well, the other thing is, the Swan is kind of inspired by, there's a little bit of James Bond in him, a little bit of Morpheus, maybe a little bit of just a little Idris Elba. But if we're talking Bond here, Bond's a gambler. And I think the only way that he would gamble these days, being, a Bitcoin Swan, is through something like atomic finance. So, maybe this is a good little talking point. Can you guys kind of give us a little breakdown of Atomic, and for someone who's never heard of it before, and someone like me who hasn't gone through all the documentation because I'm lazy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the basic intro for Atomic is, we're a company that's really building, non-custodial financial tools. We think that, financial tools for Bitcoin should really retain as many properties as Bitcoin as possible. Mm-hmm. And, at the end of the day, we actually launched, Atomic Odds just recently, allowed you to, bet on your favorite potential presidential candidate or your least favorite, and so, really, if people are able to do that without having to, worry about giving, complete custody of their Bitcoin over to a third party, then, that's a plus for us. So.
100%. So I know recently you guys had some bets going on for the elections. How did that go? What was the feedback response? And also, how does it work with, I don't want to get into politics, but, we don't really have a president right now. So how's that working? Who won the bets?
Yeah, we had it out for just over 7 days. It was like a super quick, we just kicked it off a week before the actual election took place. Right off the bat, we saw that folks were kind of there was the definite red bias on Atomic Odds. I think that might just be demographics on crypto Twitter. But not a lot of love for Sleepy Joe as part of the betting. So that was super interesting to see. It ended up being, we had over 100 bets going by the end of the 7 days. So it was incredible reception, really cool to see, the feedback that folks were giving us and whatnot. And I think one of the coolest moments was hearing from having a first time Bitcoin user or something like that, say that, oh, this is my first time actually using Bitcoin, using it for something and not just holding it. And so that was super cool. That was one of the probably made my day kind of thing. So that was it was just a kind of cool, neat little 7 day experiment there.
That's super cool. Gigi, are we gonna play some bets on Atomic Odds? Should we do some betting on air, or are you a gambling man, Gigi? I don't know. I feel like you're not. Did we lose Gigi? We might have lost Gigi.
He's too anonymous,
He's got a new setup. He's using OBS, and might not be working. Anyway, Gigi will come back to us, folks. He'll be back soon. In the meantime, it's been one hell of a bullish week, and I feel like I go to sleep, Bitcoin's up. There was bullish news that day. I wake up in the morning, I check my phone immediately. The price is significantly higher. There's at least 5 new bullish articles and headlines. We've kind of reached a turning point, I think, and it's kind of crazy. I don't know, it's almost hard to believe. Something that really that I'm still kind of going crazy about was Cynthia Loomis. Did you guys see the news with her?
Yeah, we saw that. We saw a couple interviews earlier, but was there some latest scoop?
Not just the latest scoop. I'm just kind of going crazy over that clip of her on Fox News. You know, she came out basically totally in favor of Bitcoin. We've kind of known that she was before. You know what? I'm gonna attempt to play the video for that for anyone who hasn't seen it. Let's give it a shot. I think it's worth watching. I've basically been watching it on repeat. All right. Share screen, application window, Cynthia Loomis. There we are, folks. All right. Let's see if this works.
Republican Cynthia Lummis is making history as the first woman to represent Wyoming in the U.S. Senate. She won her race to fill Senator Mike Enzie's seat, growing the number of Republican women headed into the Capitol next year.
I'm a mess today, folks. I apologize.
A record-setting 17 GOP women have been elected to the House. Senator-elect Cynthia Lummis joins us now. Good morning to you, Senator-elect.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. What a resume you have. You served in the State House or Senate for 14 years. You were state treasurer for 8 years, 8 years in the U.S. House, and congratulations, you were the first female senator in the state of Wyoming. I'm sure that feels great. What do you plan on doing? What are your top priorities?
Well, it's such an honor to serve Wyoming in the U.S. Senate. I plan to work on several issues, including matters to try to reduce our debt and our deficit. I also plan to explain to my colleagues about Bitcoin. I know there isn't much known about Bitcoin, especially in the Congress. So I want to make sure everybody understands that this is a great store of value. It's something that Americans can use to diversify their assets and to make sure that they have assets that don't have inflation built into them, just the way the US dollar does. Americans can...
Bang, bang, holy shit. A real life US senator talking about Bitcoin like that. And I don't know for sure. This is purely me speculating. When she says that there's not a lot known about Bitcoin in the Congress, I like to think that she's talking about Mr. Brad Sherman, who is one of my favorite congressmen because he's a great spokesperson for Bitcoin for all the wrong reasons. But, and funny story, I think he's actually, well, I'm not going to dox Corey, but anyway, Corey's going to be joining us soon. He lives relatively close to Mr. Sherman's district, which is kind of hilarious. Maybe we'll get him on the show one day. What did you guys, what did you think of that? I mean, like, did you see that and like have this kind of the same reaction I did? Because I just thought it was like, I still can't believe that what I'm seeing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really interesting because it shows that, you know, what's really going to be the thing that, you know, really drives Bitcoin forward. You know, like the governments of the future are going to be the ones that are buying Bitcoin today versus, you know, trying to suppress it. You know, if you can't beat them, join them. I don't know. That's the message I got from that.
Well, my main takeaway was that I'm jealous because we are in Canada, and it doesn't seem like that. Doesn't seem like there's any really kind of elected representatives that I know of that are in a similar stance. So like, you know, it's good to see American lawmakers really kind of being the front man there and being the front people for Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be interesting though, because clearly there are so many politicians, you know, on both sides. Some who get it, some who don't. Like people like Brad Sherman, who actually realize how powerful Bitcoin is and what an effect it could have on the world. And because they're such, you know, hardcore statists or whatever they are, you know, they're not. Greg, I see that comment in the chat. Okay, let's keep it PG. All right, keep it PG. Greg can't help himself. He's like a meme master extraordinaire. We're actually about to give him a page in the Bitcoin arsenal, which I don't know if you guys have seen, but it's one of our projects where we create pages with basically we're trying to accumulate all the Bitcoin memes. And so we're trying to, like, for example, Greg or, you know, someone like the Fat Bitcoin, you know, their memes are all over Twitter, but you never get to see them all in one place. So we thought it would be really cool to have this sort of repository. But anyway, Greg, I'm putting you on notice, okay? No more not safe for work comments, or we're going to rethink your page. We won't. Your memes are too good.
Oh man, what you could do is if you had you could create basically the Bitcoin version of Giphy, and then every time you send a meme, you pay using 1 or 2 sats or something, and gets people using Lightning Network or something.
Oh, I like that. Or maybe we could bring in Atomic here and do some betting, like betting on how widely the memes propagate. I don't know how that could be possible, but GG.
Number of likes on particular memes, and you can bet on each one. You're getting start staying poor. Oh, what's the meme I'm missing here? You're gonna have a meme for that one. You can have another one. You could bet on each of them.
Have fun,
and then,
poor.
Thank you. We need Udi on here to correct me.
So Gigi, you're back. Where'd you go?
Yeah, it seems that my internet connection dematerialized. So sorry for that. I had a quick disconnect, but I think I'm better now. But thanks for alpha testing my setup. We'll get better over time, I promise.
Comments. Where's the space? Tell the people at home what you're doing, why you're doing it, and why the three of us are dumb for not protecting our OPSEC like you.
Yeah, people sell their kidneys to buy more Bitcoin. So that's the idea. Just sell your body parts, including your face, and just stack more sats that way. Nobody else seriously starting to point out and actually protect your private. You can stay pseudonymous. You can't even stay anonymous. And I think it would be a saner world if we don't force everyone to use this identity everywhere and the real name and the real face and so on. I really like that people on CNBC now have to grapple with the fact that there are discussions with cartoon characters from Twitter. So that's the world I want to live in.
No, you're right. I mean, I think what a lot of people also forget is, the right to anonymity. It's kind of part of democracy. You can't have a free and open democracy without the ability to speak anonymously, to voice concerns, and to protest. And so average Joe doesn't need privacy every moment of his life, but we wouldn't live in a free world if we didn't have the right to privacy.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is you can only lose privacy. You can't gain privacy. And so for those people who are just getting into Bitcoin now or just learning about it, don't go KYC on every single exchange out there, just so you can have optionality. That's choose wherever you want to buy your Bitcoin in one place and kind of stick to that. Only give your KYC details away once.
Man, I wish I'd known you guys a few years ago, because when I first got into the then shitcoin crypto scene, I was signed up on every exchange. I was like, oh, I didn't even think about privacy. I was just like, yeah, maybe I want to trade here. Or back in the day, oh yeah, they've only got this weird shitcoin pair that I've never heard of over here, so I better sign up over there. And now I'm stuck with my info all over the internet. You can't take it back. So
yeah, exactly.
On all the bad habits in the world.
So I actually totally forgot. I wanted to bring you guys on today to shoot the shit, get to meet you guys, and kind of talk about Atomic. But we really need to hear the Ethereum to Bitcoin journey. That's how you guys first popped up on my radar, because you don't hear that too often. A lot of the Ethereum people are kind of firmly in their camp. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, these guys are rad. We gotta meet them. So I'd love to hear kind of your beginning story, maybe a little bit how you got into Ethereum, but more towards the, how did you get into Bitcoin from there part of the story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny you say that, because I think a lot of people have been hearing about our story and are reading our blog posts and saying hey, you know what, this is bullish for Bitcoin. Look at these guys, they're going from Ethereum to Bitcoin, and so that's been funny to see people making memes about that. But we in terms of how we got, I guess, into Ethereum first, and then later into and now into really focusing just on Bitcoin. I originally got into the space back in 2013, 2014. It was actually my dad that introduced me to Bitcoin. He's kind of this crypto anarchist type, and so I was just kind of managing his funds for him. And me and Tony, we were actually we were at the University of Waterloo studying at the time, and as Vitalik went to Waterloo. There's a little bit of a Ethereum presence around there, and so we got brainwashed. I won't deny, but we started experimenting with a few different things, and I started working for a company that was doing actually atomic swaps between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it was at that time, it's Liquidity. Then they built some pretty cool tools using HTLCs and whatnot. But it was at that time that I really got we got a lot more interested in what was happening with the Bitcoin side of things. Bitcoin scripts. What is possible with the with the Bitcoin scripting language, and what's happening in Lightning Network, and what's happening with all these tools that are being built. And so that's kind of was our first introduction to Bitcoin. And then it was at that point that we realized, like, hey, we've built kind of this, that we're building this cool thing with atomic swaps. What else can you do with cross-chain tools?
Yeah, and exactly. So like kind of we were looking at Bitcoin finance was something that we were quite interested in, just because like we were actually, when we were moving from Waterloo to another place, like this true Bitcoin story kind of thing, I guess. Like, we were fiat poor, just coming out of college. We had a little bit of Bitcoin, just started buying a little bit of Bitcoin at that point. So we were like, okay, we've been hearing about these like Bitcoin backed loans, and like, these like, BlockFi and like Salt, I think, just came out. And then we were like, okay, this is interesting. So we did some research on them. And then like, we were like, oh, well, they seem like a little bit of a black box, for an asset that kind of preaches don't trust, verify, they're just kind of the black box nature. It didn't sit quite well with us. It feels like you have to kind of make some compromising your KYC and privacy information, and of course, like giving up a bit of your custody as well. And so it started to feel that why isn't there kind of more trust minimized, more pseudo-anonymous tools, financial tools out there? And that's kind of what got us really started thinking about building sound finance, building like the concept of non-custodial Bitcoin financial tools that share as many of the assurances as Bitcoin. Being open, being pseudo-anonymous, being transparent, being neutral. Now, the thing is, at that point, we were still a little bit in our ETH stage. So basically, like that was, so we had those ideas, and I think that was on the right path. But then the issue is, at that point, we hadn't dug into the Bitcoin tech side as much. And so like, we started kind of looking into building cross-chain tools where the first one being atomic loans, where like you could lock Bitcoin on the Bitcoin chain, but a lot of the logic was happening on Ethereum because you're borrowing in an ERC20 stablecoin, DAI or USDC, etc. And the issue there was that, as we kind of progressed and like built it out, especially like towards earlier this year, it just started feeling like more and more that, hey, it felt like we didn't belong in this whole ETH DeFi craze, because first of all, you got projects spinning up left and right doing these tokens, and there's really nothing that spells kind of unsound money as much as people trying to print money to get rich quick, like left and right. And I think a big part of that is really just the high time preference thinking that kind of ETH ecosystem has more so than Bitcoin. Folks are building up these projects. They're not like meant to be any sort of long-term projects. It's just building it up and then launching a token and then, ditch it. I've made my money, whatever, right? And, there's just kind of like zero-sum games at the end of the day. The things that we saw on ETH DeFi. At the end of the day, also, we were kind of just really worried about security. The premise of building something on Ethereum, like after we launched it, we had trouble sleeping. Solidity smart contracts are just they're scary. They're really scary, and we went through part of that ourselves. Like we kind of we did two smart contract audits. Did things by the book. Still ended up being an issue with our smart contracts. Luckily, nobody's funds got lost, but that really kind of spelled danger in our eyes as well. And especially with the uncertainty around ETH 2.0, I mean, we kind of see the progress on that on a regular basis on Twitter, but it's uncertain around. We had a lot of uncertainty around what ETH is going to be. And for us, like if we were really going to build sound finance, really kind of if we're going back to first principles, trying to achieve sound finance, the way forward really, the only way forward was really kind of going back to Bitcoin, building Bitcoin native financial tools, and hopefully doing what we can in that way to help towards hyper Bitcoinization.
Hell yeah, guys. I mean, it's a great story, and I think a lot of people don't think about building on a sound foundation, and like you're not going to build a house in sand. Like there's it. I know it's kind of like a very simple metaphor for it, but I found a lot of people, even friends who are in the Ethereum world or the DeFi world, they've never really gone down like the first principles rabbit hole. Like they don't really know why we're doing what we're doing. And they think they do, which I think is the funny part. Like they think they understand Bitcoin. And then I'm just like, well, have you read the Bitcoin standard? And they're just like, oh, why should I read that? And I'm just like, okay, yeah, you really understand Bitcoin. And, I don't know.
I totally get where you're coming from. Like, I think like even for us, when we first got into the ETH space, like the way that ETH people pitched Bitcoin to us, it's this archaic technology that was the first thing that came out, but now, led to Vitalik, inspired Vitalik to create this. And so, okay, but Ethereum is really the way forward. It's where the action is going to be. Bitcoin, you have this weird group of really hardcore, toxic people who are using it. Don't worry about them, kind of thing. Like that was how Bitcoin was pitched to us, like when we were trying to go through getting into Ethereum. So I think I definitely resonate with what you just said there.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, because I think a lot of Ethereum folks, I think at the end of the day, a lot of Bitcoiners are cut from a different cloth. And when we recently on Twitter, when we had the debates around the verifying the supply, and the rebuttal of Ethereum folks was, oh, well, you don't need to verify the supply, or like the fact that isn't like a major concern just kind of shows the difference in thinking between the two camps. And really, at the end of the day, the technology that's being built, is similar in many aspects, but the philosophy is just is night and day at the end of the day.
It's totally different. I had these debates with my friends who were in the ETH camp, and we would get to this point where they didn't think it was important and I did, and we just had to shrug and walk away because it was just a fundamental difference. And anyway, it was crazy. I've got a question that I want to ask all three of you, Gigi included, because he is a very talented coder as well. So back in my film school days, there's one thing I learned, which was kind of counterintuitive, was that I think constraints actually really help creativity and help you to create something special, right? And I think a lot of people in the other camps, look at what you can't do in Bitcoin and use that to justify why they're working somewhere else. And I kind of, maybe it's a hot take, I don't know, but I kind of think that's lazy. I think one, you can do a lot more on Bitcoin than most people think you can, especially now. And two, it's kind of like looking for the quick and easy way out. And if you can work within the Bitcoin constraints, you'll just end up with something so much better. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Gigi, maybe you take this one if you're still with us. I think there's a delay to where he lives.
Yeah, I think the hang up that most people have is that they think that Bitcoin, oh shit, I'll just keep talking. The hang up that most people have that Bitcoin not do smart contracts, first of all, and that Bitcoin is, as you guys said, all technology. And the thing is that Bitcoin can definitely do smart contracts. It's just a very kind of smart contracts, and run into the same problems when it comes to computing. And if something that is Turing complete, you will always run into the halting. And that's exactly what ETH and every other Turing complete runs into. You need a mechanism that will quit programs that hang, so to speak. And this is where gas comes in. And so Satoshi was very deliberate of his scripting language, that it's a very deliberate choice that is constrained, and it is a very choice that it is not Turing complete. But he thought about it long, and it can define all kinds of the smart contracts and transactions. Like he literally said, it took him 1.5 years to come up with a system, do all the transaction types that he wanted to do. And we see now with all the inventions, if you only have a signature basically to work with, like a very constrained design, what you can do. And we now have, Taproot coming online soon. People are really smart in figuring out how to work around these kind of constraints. But I think that's the main hang-up, that people just have a wrong impression about these systems. And the second one that's really driving me insane is that everything on the blockchain, like strawberries on the blockchain and so on and so forth. And that's just a basic misconception of how these things operate. And you cannot put anything extra on a blockchain is run into the Oracle problem. And I think a lot of people are around that. Yeah, well, so these are would be interesting what you guys think about that.
So there's definitely a delay. I think there was like 10 seconds between I said that blockchain strawberries were tasty between when I said it and Gigi heard it, but we'll work through that. You guys have anything to add to what Gigi was saying?
Yeah, I mean, I really resonated with what Gigi said about, like, everyone, their dog wants to put everything on the blockchain. And I think, like, what's really unique about the way Bitcoiners are thinking of building things is that actually, the Bitcoin base layer should really be used for settlement, and everything that's built, financial tools around it should really be done off chain. And so I think it's really cool what people have been doing with things like with DLCs, like, enabling Bitcoin Oracle contracts where, all the data, like you don't even know that you've entered, like with what we built with Atomic Odds. If you're doing a bet, if you're betting on Trump or Biden, like nobody knows that. It just looks like a 2 of 2 multisig. And so, if you're able to build those types of things where, the base layer is really just being used for settlement, and you're doing all these other, and more advanced like financial contracts outside, then that becomes really exciting. And we don't, and it's great too, because we don't need to worry about, the base layer becoming congested. I mean, we're not going to lie here. Like, we built, Ethereum products, and, I've never run an Ethereum node because, what are you going to take 3 weeks, and 3 weeks of your life to get it running, and that's just insane. So yeah.
Definitely. Gents, I'm going to bring in our quarterback, our coach, Mr. Corey Clipston. Welcome to the stream, sir. How you doing?
It's good to see you guys. How's it going?
Good
to see you guys. It's been a while.
Oh, you guys have met before?
Yeah, we've met before. Yeah, through Bitcoiner Ventures. One of the things that we were late to the game. They already have enough money to do what they need to do. So maybe next round.
Maybe next round. Well, they'll take our money for gambling purposes.
Yeah, no, I probably should have placed a bet. There's a few other things taking up some of my time right now, so didn't get around to it. But congrats on the launch and the good feedback and good reviews from at least the people that I know and have been following. It's awesome to see.
I mean, at the very least, you guys are going to be in business just because of American HODL and Peter McCormick forever. They're just going to keep going.
Yeah. Like I guess it's like PayPal needed Beanie Babies. Like you guys just need like a core set of degenerate gamblers that want to use it over and over and over again, and that should be enough to rocket boost you into the stratosphere.
Well, exactly. There's never a lack of people who want to just bet on stupid things. So it's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Well, question for you guys. I know with some of these betting markets, like, they can sometimes be more accurate than like polls, for example. You guys know how what am I trying to say here? How many people would have to be betting to get a large enough set of data to actually kind of get near to accuracy? I can't talk today. I don't know what I'm saying. Do you understand my terrible question?
Yeah, I do. I think to be honest, I think there's been some studies that's been done on this. Like it's been a while since I've read them, but yeah, it's definitely a lot more than what we saw on our system. So a few more steps to go before that happens. But yeah, definitely, I think on a lot of the on most betting markets that we've seen, there was a lot more interest in backing Trump than what the polls were showing, and I think that was fairly well reflected in the actual election itself. So I think that there is something to be said about that for sure.
It'll definitely be interesting to see where it goes. Well, can you guys tell us a little bit about what you have coming up on the horizon? Like any weird bets? Like I don't know. What can I bet on coming up? What are you working on?
Yeah. So we're just at the moment, we're just learning a lot from users, just from the process. Obviously, we need to resolve this bet, the election at some point. So we're just getting feedback from users and kind of finding out what's next for us. Whether we're putting up new bets and kind of what new topics people are really interested in. So we'll keep you posted on that.
I'm excited, Corey. We're gonna place a bet at some point. You and me. We're going to take opposite sides. I don't know what we'll bet on, but
yeah, there got to be some really good ones. I mean, I'm ready for some sports betting. That'd be easy. You guys turn that on. I'll go nuts with that.
That's easy. Hey, folks in the chat, do me a favor. Smash that like button, but also tell us what kind of weird and crazy bets you'd like to see on Atomic Finance, because I want to hear some cool answers. Wrong answers only. Go.
The invisible Bitcoiner is back.
He's back. He won't hear us.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
for 10 seconds.
That
wasn't much latency.
Everything's fucked.
That's okay. Did you give just a short summary of what we launched with XPubs earlier in the show?
We have not gotten to that.
Oh, let's hit it real quick. Yeah. In Gigi's own words, what did you build and why?
Yes. So as everyone knows, X are horrible. They're just but we tried to build something that would make sense, and so we agreed that it's acceptable to enter an XPub, and there will be a set of addresses, like a couple hundred addresses generated on the client side that should be good for pretty much the lifetime of a user that stacks a lot and withdraws a lot. So we encourage that, stack daily and withdraw to your own custody as often as you can. And so what we are doing now is we provide a source library that does all that in the background. We don't do any heavy lifting, so it's built up on other great libraries. But it's a really simple tool that you put an XPub in, or a YPub, or a CPub. There's this XPub SU in the meanwhile that was created out of necessity, I would say. And this tool will just generate a bunch of addresses, and that's what we work with. And whenever you withdraw, we take one of those addresses and we withdraw to them in order. So you should not run into any problem with any kind of gap limit or anything like that. And we minimize address reuse with that, so that there shouldn't be any address reuse if you use a separate account for your Swan stack. And that's what we decided upon, and so far it's well received. And I'm sure there's there might be one or two minor bugs that we still need to figure out. But we're happy with it, and so far it seems to work, and it seems to be a sane solution. And of course, there are always better solutions just around the corner. In the future we might not even have these kind of problems if everyone is forced to use Lightning, for example, because the fees are just insanely high. But we'll see when that happens.
Gigi, can you also real quick just kind of give a basic primer on what XPubs do for the users and how it can benefit your privacy?
Yeah, so in general, just address reuse Bitcoin is really bad. So you should never use an address, really. And if you use a service like Swan, if you stack automatically and you withdraw often, we kind of need to know an address of you that we can send to. And if you have an automatic plan going, which I would really recommend, I've been super bullish on Auto DCA before I ever knew any of you guys, pretty much. So the Friar converted me very early. And the thing is that you need to communicate a set of addresses to someone else. And XPubs are part of that. XPubs, they were invented for a different kind of reason. But since they can be understood as read-only keys to a part of your wallet or even to your whole wallet, there are even child XPubs that when you create an account, you most people know it when you have a ledger or Trezor or something, you can create an account. And this account will have its own XPub. And this XPub can generate all the addresses that fall under this account. And so when you give someone else access to this XPub, this party also has access to these addresses. It can't really do anything with it except for like it's a read-only access, so to speak, but it's enough to send funds to. And so that's exactly what we make use of. So we get child account XPubs, and we generate a couple hundred addresses, and we use those to send funds to our users.
Love it. Love it. Almost as much as I loved hearing Matt Odell praise it, which basically means that you did your job very well, Gigi. So congrats on all that hard
it
work.
means we did something right, you know, like that was nice to hear.
Exactly. All right. Looking in the chat, what do we got here, folks? Michael Saylor's taking over the world. Yes, he is. If you mention Brief Fit Dance in the chat again, I'm going to boot you. Just letting you know. Don't do it again.
Let's pick up the Saylor chat for just a minute, because he started to flesh out his thesis a bit more over the past couple of weeks and gone a little bit further than what he did kind of playing it straight in line with Bitcoiners for the first 3 months or so. In the last couple of interviews, he started to talk about, Bitcoin should just aim to be just a store of value and let the big tech companies handle payments. Basically like be in harmony with the world as it exists and, get 95% of the way there, but, let everyone else kind of handle payments. I'd actually like to get Gigi's take on that and just kind of, I think you have a nice way of thinking about this, and we chatted about it in the team chat a couple days ago. But Gigi, what are you thinking?
Since we're talking about the GigaChat, let me just switch scenes real quick. If you're a true GigaChat, Swan TV is what you should be watching, like Bitcoin check the price. And if you have a gain, that's the only place where you look up the price. So now it's
amazing.
GigaChat time.
Take that full screen, Brett.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think
I think
in general, also corn up.tv brings insane great. But anyway, I love the Giga. I think very on the road quickly. But
Gigi, your audio's cutting out.
So hey, Breck, why don't you just put it back on the?
In any case, like
there we go.
Gigi, say something. Let's see if it's working now.
I'm sorry. All the special effects, and the graphics probably take up all my CPU power or something, and that eats up my internet. I don't know what's going on, but the answer is I think Bitcoin is just way too multi-prismatic to say something like that. That Bitcoin is just that. Like Bitcoin is just store of value. Bitcoin is just digital gold. It's just persistent. Blah blah blah. It's all of it. I get his thesis, and he's kind of correct in the store of value will be the main play for the foreseeable. We can ignore the people that are doing Sphinx chat, for example. There's like stream chats. It's happening already. Like there are tribes on Sphinx. You can tip with sats, and you can pay per minute, and it's an insanely great payment network. It's an insanely great payment rail. Try to do that with V. Try to tip Marty or Matt 100 sats when they say something great. It's just people that are trying to box Bitcoin in, I think they are just not paying enough attention to everything that's all at the same time.
100%, Gigi. I mean, that's the thing. Bitcoin is different things to different people, and that's totally okay, at least in my opinion. So,
Brecky, didn't you post the image of the blind man and the elephant?
I did. Let me see if I can pull that up. It's actually a wonderful metaphor.
Yeah, I think to add to that, like, if Bitcoin is only like a store of value, then we're probably going to end up with a Bitcoin walled garden, where if it can be stored in a bunch of different custodians, and then no one ends up actually custodying their own Bitcoin. And I think that's a huge concern. Like if there aren't financial products that are non-custodial, then people are just going to put their Bitcoin onto whatever exchange, whatever loan service. People will be able to get Bitcoin backed loans, but they'll go and give custody of their Bitcoin away to someone else, and Bitcoin IOU is not a real Bitcoin.
100%. So actually, I'm going to full screen this real quick. It's a wonderful metaphor. You can actually find this at swanbitcoin.com/arsenal on the homepage. Let me zoom in for you real quick. But basically, no one had ever seen that mighty beast of whom so many tales are told. And the whole idea here is that you have a whole group of blind people who happen upon an elephant. And depending upon which part of the elephant you touch, you're going to think it's something totally different. And that's basically how Bitcoin works. If you're living, let's pull this back actually. If you're living in the third world somewhere, and your home currency is being inflated away, Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. If you live in the United States and you have a relatively comfortable life and you don't have banking problems, but your currency is also being deflated or inflated, but slightly slower, it's an insurance, it's a hedge against inflation on a what's it called? Oh my God, I can't talk today. On a longer time frame. And if you're living somewhere where you need to make payments that aren't being censored by the government, then Bitcoin is something entirely different for you. And if you're a degenerate gambler and you love atomic finance, then it's something totally different for you. So it's what you make of it. And I think that's part of the beauty of Bitcoin. What are you laughing at, Gigi? That delay is killing me.
Sorry. I guess the one thing,
it's hard to tell because of the delay. So whatever you said 20 seconds ago, I'm laughing at it.
I think the explicit statement that was on the last show was currency should be left to governments, basically, which was currency is the domain of governments or whatever. And I don't see it playing out that way. I still think he's been, the primary, not responsible for more than 50%, but the most important catalyst for this year. It was going to happen anyway, but it happened faster and better and with more surety and, kind of just is more exciting and, probably a bit higher than it would have been otherwise. He's definitely the MVP and Rookie of the Year for 2020. But I think it's great. It's great to see already. You don't have to lionize these people. You don't have to consider them heroes no matter what they say. When an artist makes something and he's saying beautiful things about cyber hornets and he's teaching companies to hold it on their treasury, like the number of great, well-formed ideas that he's come up with on his own and that he's taken from other people and said better, like the dude in the FedEx commercial. It's just been incredible to watch someone with that level of intellect and credibility and, 30 years of enterprise sales experience, literally practiced going around the world to people of all cultures and making them like him so they buy shit from him. Like he is incredibly skilled doing this stuff. So it's been awesome, but, it's not gospel. Once the artist puts the art out there, it's up to you to determine whether you like the art or not. And we can say I like how you said this, and this other thing is just not really going to work for us.
What I'm struggling with a little bit is, he has a great historical perspective. Like any conversation he's had with Breedlove, you can see it. But what's crazy is if you look back in history, governments have not always controlled currency. So they have for a while and in various time periods. But if you also look at how governments have been the stewards of currency, they've debased them every single time. So to me, to say that currency should be the purview of government it just doesn't make any sense. It kind of goes against why we Bitcoin, at least from my perspective. I don't know if anyone else has different thoughts. No different thoughts. All right, everybody agrees.
We've got a good question from Brady in the YouTube chat for the Atomic guys.
For Tony and Matt, what is the future of finance on the Lightning Network? What are the promising third layers? I'd actually love to hear this too. Gentlemen.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Well, I think it's interesting because Lightning Network is useful today for really two things. It's useful for payments and it's useful for It's useful for gaming. But other than that, like you can't, there's not a lot of other things you can do. Like if you want to do 2x leverage on Lightning Network, well, on markets is awesome, but it's still custodial right now. You know, the tools really just haven't been built out yet to be able to do a lot of like really interesting things with Lightning Network. So I think those things are in the process of being built. DLCs allow for you to create Bitcoin Oracle contracts. You can do that, use that for betting. You can use that for options. Bitcoin escrow contracts are another tool that can be used. You can use that to create like, leverage if you want to create a 2x leverage position. And all these things are eventually going to make it to Lightning Network. And so I think once you start having those suites of tools that start existing, not only at layer 1 like they do right now, but at layer 2 on Lightning Network, then that's going to be really exciting. And then the second part of the question was layer 3. Well, that's when things get really exciting because we've got RGB on the horizon. And for those that don't know, RGB basically allows for assets to be issued on top of Lightning Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have stable coins coming to Bitcoin. And so that's really exciting. You can do really cool things with that. You can do synthetics, you can do a DEX, you can do some really great things. So that'll be really exciting to see.
You can create NFTs, which is going to be a whole. It's going to be interesting because I know, like, I'm okay with NFTs. I think there are reasons for them. I've been waiting till they come to Bitcoin through RGB, but then there's this whole subset of Bitcoiners that just thinks they're really, really stupid, which, it's kind of like people who think baseball cards are stupid, I think, which is valid. You can have either opinion. But I don't know, it kind of brings me back to Gigi's point also, which is that, if you're putting something on a blockchain, there is an Oracle problem. And so with it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It just means that it only works for certain use cases. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, we're never going to get those, like the Oracle problem. Like, we're not going to. Is the Oracle problem going to be solved? I don't think it will, and I don't think it should be. Like, we're going to have centralized oracles at the end of the day. We're not going to put price data inside the Bitcoin blockchain. That's not where it belongs, and that's not where it should be. We're not going to put the result of the U.S. election on the Bitcoin blockchain. That's mixing politics and Bitcoin. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on that one.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Satoshi did put the headline in the Genesis block, right? So there is a bit of politics in the Bitcoin blockchain from that.
That's true. Yeah, I guess so. There's one thing I heard about the other day, which I don't know. It's going to be strange. I think DeFi is definitely coming to Bitcoin, but what makes me happy at least is knowing that if they're building DeFi on Lightning with RGB, it's not going to affect the base layer. So if a bunch of degenerates want to play around and do their thing and issue all sorts of scammy food tokens, they can go do their thing, and it's not going to affect my Bitcoin. So I don't know. I don't know if that's rules or whatever, but people are going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot more elegant. Like if you have a situation where you're building RGB, like you have DEXs that are happening with stable coins, and that doesn't affect the base layer. I mean, that's just even better. There's actually a question in the chat here. Like, can you guys do the equivalent Oracle solution to Link without the token? I think they're referring to Chainlink. Putting those scammers out of business. Yes, you can with DLCs. So you can have like DLCs that exist as a Bitcoin Oracle contract, and you can have like a specific trusted party running an Oracle. You can also have it such that you have like multiple parties running Oracles. So say if we're running one, SureBits is running one, and even like Bitfinex, for example, and we all resolve the same value. You can aggregate those signatures together and basically create the same thing as Chainlink without the token, without putting any data on chain. And the oracles don't even need to know of the existence of the contract. So that's really cool.
Tony, can either you or Matt give kind of a basic explanation of DLCs to folks who've never heard about them before?
Yeah, sure. So basically, like essentially, it's think of it as a 2-of-2 multisig, where like you have two parties that might be depositing funds into this escrow, and then basically you just have a third party oracle that kind of depending on some external factor, in a betting use case, for example, the oracle is reporting on the results of the election, and then you have one party who bet on Biden, one party who bought on Trump that they deposited into the DLC, and then that third party oracle just signs a message that like signifies, okay, all the Bitcoin that was deposited by the two parties, it belongs to this guy because he chose Biden, or for example, assuming things stay the course and there's nothing else that happens. So like basically, simple 2 of 2 multi-sig with a third party oracle that sends a message to reallocate the funds.
Yeah, and to add on to that, like what's really cool about this when you compare it to something like what's being built with oracles on Ethereum is that DLC oracles, like all it's doing is it's actually broadcasting a signature, right? So it doesn't need to create a transaction to do so. So one of the big problems with Ethereum is, when you have like very high, chain congestion, you run into situations where certain actions can't occur because oracles aren't able to get their price data on chain in order for people to do, various actions based on that price data. And so you end up with situations where entire, smart contracts of debt agreements can become insolvent because that price data wasn't able to get on chain. And so what's cool here is, they're just broadcasting in the background. So, whenever they broadcast, you don't need that. You don't need that to go on chain right away. You can kind of close out that DLC whenever it makes sense.
Bitcoin for the win. So, gents, I know we kind of already went into this, but Mr. Citizen Bitcoin has a question for you. And you know what? I think it's so much fun hearing it. Maybe we should just go back into it. Can you talk more about your experience developing on Ethereum versus Lightning, the community, the quality of the protocols, etc.? Just tell us why Bitcoin's better. We're having a bullish week. Let's just let's just get all the feels.
That would probably be enough content for an entire episode by itself. But Matt, why don't you go ahead? You go ahead first, and then I'll tack on.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think part of the aspect is building with if you're building with Ethereum, I think at the end of the day, building things with Ethereum, it's very very easy. You just have you have Solidity smart contracts. You can write it up. Any JavaScript developer can write up a Solidity smart contract, and you can put stuff out there and you can deploy it on the blockchain. But the challenge with it is that how do you, if you're building a smart contract, how do you update it? How do you change that code later on? What happens if there's a bug in that? And usually what happens is protocol developers, they make one of two choices. They either put in, a set of admin keys in there, which, they can change the code at any time. And that's basically, giving custody to them. Or they don't do that, in which case, a bug is found and then you've got a honeypot of a smart contract, and then, there goes the funds. So what's interesting in Bitcoin is that, most of the contracts, everything that exists that's being created is being created using single-use contracts. So that includes, if you're creating a DLC, it's a single use because you're going in, you're entering into that 2 of 2 multi-sig. If you're, betting on Trump or Biden, you enter that 2 of 2 multi-sig, and then you exit it. So, even if you lose your private key, right? Someone gets your private key. Only that one contract is affected, not the entire protocol. And so the other thing that's happening on Ethereum as well is that there's all these protocols that are being built on top of each other. You have MakerDAO, and then Compound's built on top of that, and then you have Harvest Finance that's built on top of that. And so if one of them gets a bug, then they all get affected, and it's a massive Jenga tower. So I think the other thing as well is that like when you're building on Ethereum, you need to, if you choose not to have a situation where you're adding that admin key, you need to make sure that you do like really rigorous audits at the very beginning, because if any bugs are found, you now have a honeypot. So it's very, very expensive to be able to build on Bitcoin. And one thing that we've really liked building Atomic Odds is we've been able to iterate, because we can put a version out there, we can get people to try it out, and then we can tweak a few things to improve it and get them to try it again. And so that's been really great. Anything to add, Tony?
Oh no, you might be muted.
We've lost him.
Right.
He's muted.
So I think like you hit on most of it, but like I think one more thing to add is like I think one of the most I guess revelations I've had is that it's so much more fun and interesting to talk to Bitcoiners. Like with Bitcoiners, you have like deep conversations about monetary theory, about why money is important for humanity, and proper ways to design money, and all that kind of stuff. With Ethereans, it's you talk about just the tech. You talk about the what. You talk about how can I get more how can I reduce the gas fee here by like adding in this line of code, and then like how does this compare with this other blockchain that has like higher transactions per second. It's all about like those kinds of conversations. You never go into the why of like what you're building and like why is this important for humanity and why is it important to get money correct and that kind of stuff. And so that, I think, a little bit off topic from the development side of how it's like to develop on the two ecosystems, but I think that's been one of the coolest differences that I've seen between the two spaces.
100%. Although unicorns used to be cool before they stole them from us, but it's fine. We'll live without the unicorns.
Only if they let you. If you actually don't pay attention to them and have no idea what's going on in the shitcoin ecosystem, like you can still have unicorns and just don't care that they use them too. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, you know what? Screw them. I'll start.
Yeah, those are like shiticorns. Like they're not real unicorns.
So I've got a question, and then after that, I think it's time we do our little Swan Force Friday segment, which I'll explain in a bit. You guys are working on gambling for now, but I feel like there's just way more to what Atomic is doing. Like that, this is not the end goal. And hearing you guys talk about Bitcoin and about making the world a better place and monetary theory, like where is the tech that you're building leading? What? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is that the tech that we're building, this is kind of like DLCs is really kind of the first primitive that's going to exist for like, as we like to call it, Bitcoin native DeFi. And it's really useful. DLCs specifically are really useful for betting, and they're really useful for options. And so that's kind of the first primitive that I think is going to exist in the ecosystem. Once we have those initial primitives, it's really exciting to be able to see what primitives can be created from that. Once you have DLCs in place, well, then another one that's interesting is Bitcoin escrow contracts, which allows for like the creation of leverage. You can create a decentralized BitMEX, for example. And so I think we see, DLCs is really just the first step in what we really want to create in terms of, non-custodial financial tools for Bitcoiners. Anything to add, Tony?
No, I think you hit it. I think like, we, to Matt's point about the potential walled garden future, we don't want that. I think most of us would agree that if hyper Bitcoinization happens on the backs of like a select few crypto banks, like that's not really the Bitcoin world that we want to live in. We don't want to, have to KYC to do anything. Like everything, and then we don't want a future where you have to, you're not even allowed to withdraw to your own wallet, right? Unless it's KYC or all that kind of stuff, right? We don't want that kind of future. And I think like in order for Bitcoin to really gain even wider adoption than what it is currently as a store of value use case, which is a very important use case at the end of the day, and it's core to Bitcoin. We think that part of Bitcoin's maturity as a financial asset will be to have more of these financial tools built around it, and we want to make sure that we're building them in the right way, and in a non-custodial way, in a censorship resistant, kind of openly accessible manner. So that's kind of what we really see. There's lots of opportunities, to do those kinds of things. We just got to figure out which ones to do first, and Atomic Odds was kind of the first step in that direction.
I love it. It's what's really exciting to me is what it sounds like is in terms of kind of where this might evolve is that we talk about this a lot. Bitcoin might be the first kind of instance of true price discovery in a very long time. Like all of the markets are manipulated, fiat is manipulated, and so I don't know if we're quite there yet. Who knows if there's manipulation going on? But like once Bitcoin grows, once we have leveraged products that are decentralized, things like this, like once all these things get built out, like we're going to see true price discovery, and I think it's going to be, I don't know, it's very cool to see.
Yeah.
Cool. So gents, the final segment, we call it Swan Force Fridays. I believe it's Friday. It is Friday. We're going to put you each on the clock and give you 60 seconds to give us your best Bitcoin pitch. Now, before you get excited, what you can do is you can tell us and the viewers at home, let's say, you want to pitch your grandma, or you want to pitch the Prime Minister of Canada. I don't know if you guys have a Prime Minister, whatever they're called, but pick an audience, tell us who it is, and cater that pitch to that person or persons or group, and we'll go from there. So, who wants to go first?
Matt, you want to take a stab?
Sure. I can try on this one. So I got 60 seconds. Okay, give me. Let me know when the timer's starting here.
You want a minute to think? Or...
I think I got something. All right. Let's start the timer.
And go.
All right. So Bitcoin really is it's really an asset that is really governed by math. So if you have a Bitcoin, it is it's created and it exists because of the math that exists behind it. And it's an asset that actually has the highest forms of property rights known to man, because it doesn't need any state or legal structure to be able to enforce those property rights. So if I send Bitcoin to my grandma or my friend, there's no government out there that can take it away from them. There's only 21 million of them that will ever be mined in existence, and it's secured by thousands of computers and networks around the world. And so if you have Bitcoin, no one can take that away from you. Yeah, that's all I got.
I mean, I'm sold, but I'm already a Bitcoiner, so.
Yeah, I don't know if it did it. I don't know if that would do it for my grandma. I don't think.
Folks in the chat, let us know how Matthew did. Tony, are you ready?
Hopefully, this is like the highest pressure thing I've done in a while.
Smart contracts that might have had bugs in them. You'll be fine.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah, let's kick it off. You know what? Let me take a stab at trying to do this for my grandma. I'm actually kind of curious like how that would work. Yeah. So I think Bitcoin is really the best form of asset to really store your labor. Really like the fruits of your labor. Don't store right now with fiat. What you are doing is you're storing it in a currency that is depreciating 2% or more every year, and rather than kind of seeing your savings dwindle away, here's your best chance to kind of put that in an asset that is verifiably scarce, that is not controlled or not subject to control by any kind of central party or any kind of government who might not have your best interests at heart. In our history, we've seen kind of repeatedly where assets with assets where we have seen good money drive out bad, and Bitcoin is this money that in my view is the soundest money known to man, because you have network computers securing it, you have this cap, you have a money supply that is fixed, no one can change it, and you don't have governments that are trying to that are really just running for re-election and printing a bunch of money, short time frame thinking, and they're not going to be the ones who are going to bear the consequences of all the money printing that's going on, and especially from the money printing that we've seen just now. Bitcoin is what you need to put your money in today.
And give you extra time. All right, you lost your grandma there. Okay, she doesn't like Bitcoin. I don't think she's buying. You got to work on it.
Oh, gotta work on it. Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna call my grandma up tonight, and then I'm gonna need to work on it tonight and report back.
Please do. We'd love to hear it. Corey, you feel like doing a pitch today?
Yeah, you could put me on the clock today. I was just thinking about who I'd want to pitch. I'm going to pitch my brother-in-law out in Boston, who's both a hardware and a software engineer. So you would think he'd be super into Bitcoin. He's read the white paper twice in the past 10 years, once 8 years ago and once probably 3 years ago. He's aware that I run this company called Swan and sell Bitcoin, but he hasn't paid any attention to it whatsoever. I was planning to take care of it over the holidays because we were going to go out to Boston, but now we're not able to go. So I'm going to send him this time code, see if I can get it done in 60 seconds. I actually have butterflies because I care about this one.
Before we start, there was a comment that made me laugh, so I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Do it.
So, go all in, Granny, or have fun staying poor.
Okay, I'm gonna try that one out.
Man wins. That's awesome. All right. So, all right, go for it. So, bro, so here's the deal with Bitcoin. Back when they were first working on the internet, like 40 years ago, you can actually see it in the early writings in the code. They had figured out a way to send information over the internet, but they left a place in there for what they assumed would only be like a few years away, which would be a way to send value over the internet. And being able to prove that, you know, that value was transferred and that you weren't just making a copy of it the way you do with email or whatever. So people kept on working on that. They kept on working that, you know, through the 80s into the 90s. The cypherpunks came and got together trying to work on digital cash. There were 5 or 6 different attempts at this. There were Silicon Valley attempts during the dot-coms with like flues and beans and all that crap. There was e-gold. Anyway, they kept plugging away and it kind of dwindled. There was like Cryptonomicon, the book came out, and that enticed people. I'm going over, sorry. I'm going to go over like another 30 seconds. Anyway, in 2008, yeah, I got an extra 30 seconds. I get that treatment. There you go. In 2008, somebody actually cracked it, and he built on the foundations of a bunch of other innovations that had come before him. He went by the pseudonymous name Satoshi Nakamoto, but basically he solved the Byzantine generals problem, which should be interesting to you since you're Turkish. And he basically figured out how to send value provably transferring it from one person to another over the internet, and the person who sent the money can't keep it. That is one of the biggest innovations and biggest inventions in the history of humankind. And basically everything over the last 12 years with Bitcoin, you know, basically going out since then is just sort of derivative of that initial innovation. So definitely think it's worth diving into as a hardware and software engineer. I think you'll get it and appreciate it. And I think it'll start to make sense why so many people are so excited about it.
With 2 seconds to spare, you did it.
There you go. Yeah, that's like Michael Jordan getting off a shot with like 0.1 seconds in the 80s at home in Chicago Stadium. Like, slow on the button.
Gigi, if you'd like to, you can, but you have an entire book that basically sells Bitcoin. It's called 21 Lessons, and everyone in the chat should go and read it or listen to it immediately if you haven't already. But Gigi, if you'd like, we'll put you on the clock.
I don't know how bad the delay is, so I'll try my best to be very brief. And pitch goes out to everyone who is hitting the gym hard and thinks he has very strong hands and is in general very strong. I would urge you to just go all in into Bitcoin tomorrow just to show you how weak your hands are. Like if you really want to get strong and want strong hands, just go balls to the wall, all in into Bitcoin now. And it will show you how weak you are, you little weakling. And that's my pitch for everyone who's hitting.
Sell your face, sell your body like Gigi did, sell everything. Somebody in the chat was saying that I sold my glassware for corn, and that's why I'm using jars. Actually, I care about the environment, okay? And no, Bitcoin does not hurt the environment. So take that, whoever you were. I forget who said.
So someone had a pretty funny comment.
Hurts your feelings. That's all it hurts.
Which comment was it, Matt?
Oh, someone was saying a comment that you should explain, do the 60 seconds, explain Bitcoin to Ethereans.
You know what? If you guys are down, I think we got to do that. What do you say?
Yeah. Do you want to tag team it there, Tony? Sure. 60 seconds.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's try it.
You'll each get 60 seconds.
Okay. So look, Bitcoin is not some toxic maximalist pet rock. Okay. Like that's the first thing you got to understand. It's a lot more than that. First of all, I know that's your favorite argument. You know, like here's the thing, right? Like there's no reason why I would want to store my value and my labor in a token that I don't have any idea what the cap is. Like, why would I do that? Like, that's the whole, and you're telling me that, you're telling me that, you can do all this utility on Ethereum. And I know that's your favorite argument. The issue there is that, there's a lot of elements in the world that has more utility than gold. I have copper, I have zinc. Should I go ahead and stock copper and zinc? Do I need to have a whole stockpile of that? Right? Like the issue here is that it's not all about the utility. It's about the monetary policy. It's about why Bitcoin is a better store of value, and it's about the security, right? Stuff built on Ethereum is not secure. I am living proof of that, and that's why I really encourage you to start by reading the Bitcoin Standard. That's what started guiding me thinking about why Bitcoin is more interesting than Ethereum. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, and after you read that. There you go.
I think. I think you're muted there.
You're muted there.
Or giving me another minute. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, guess what, Ethereans? It's time to buckle up. It's time to have a look at. You think your Solidity smart contracts are the real shit? Well, guess what? DLCs are coming to town. We've got RGB. We've got Bitcoin escrow contracts, and guess what? We're building the future. We're building Bitcoin native finance here, ladies and gentlemen. We're building. We've got betting on Trump. We got betting on Biden. And you know what? It's all running with cold hard sats. We're gonna be stacking sats. Guess what? With RGB comes, we're gonna be building dexes. We're gonna have Bitcoin. We're gonna have stable coins, and people are gonna be trading between them. So you know what? And let's be honest. What's gonna exist in 20 years, ladies and gentlemen? Is it gonna be Bitcoin? Is it gonna be Ethereum? I'm betting on my shiny rock any day. That isn't the shiny rock.
Wait, I got the bet. Okay, I want to bet on atomic finance. I want to bet which will be around longer, Bitcoin or Ethereum, or some to that extent. And I want to do it on atomic.
What's we'll have a maturity date, a maximum maturity date of 100 years or something. Or no, actually, you know what? We'll only have to have a maturity date of like 10 years or something, because we can be pretty sure it's not.
We could bet on ETH 2.0 on how long it'll actually take, if it'll ever come out.
Or how long will it take for another death consensus bug?
All right, gents. You two have an open invite on the show at any time. This was a lot of fun, especially this last couple of moments. I think we should just do an entire episode just like that. I'm going to play. Yes, Citizen Bitcoin. It was bullish AF. 100% it was. Somebody had requested earlier that we end with the Swan, so I'm going to play the Swan one more time. It is an intro video, not an outro video, but we will fix that for next time. Ladies and gentlemen, folks at home, thank you so much for joining us. And now, not quite now, and now, the Swan. What did I forget? Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoiners, pre-coiners, no-coiners, and shitcoiners, welcome to Swan Lounge, a weekly show in which you get to hang out with the Swan team and some of our friends from the amazing world of Bitcoin. We do this show every Friday, and it's called Swan Lounge because we are lounging. Unlike our more serious show, Swan Signal Live, Swan Lounge is about kicking it with our friends, talking about the week's biggest events in Bitcoin, and just having fun. Before we dive in, we're doing something that I think is very special. We're giving away Jan Pritzker's book, Inventing Bitcoin, for free in an effort to spread Bitcoin knowledge. You can go to swanbitcoin.com/free book to claim your copy. We have it in 3 different ebook formats and MP3, read by our friend Guy Swan, no relation, over at Bitcoin Audible. All we ask is that you pay it forward by sharing the book with at least 3 friends and family, preferably more. And to all the Swan Force members out there, we've set up a way for you to give away the book to help you recruit new Bitcoiners. Look in your referral dashboard, and you'll find a link you can use to send people to your Swan Force landing page, so they can get the free book offer, and you can get the referral credit. And if you're not signed up for Swan Force yet, go to swanbitcoin.com/enlist to get started. It's a great deal. You'll earn 25% of Swan's fees on their purchases for 3 years. And your referral gets $10 of free Bitcoin if they become a Swan member and start saving $50 of Bitcoin a week or more. Also, make sure to watch to the end of the episode because we have a special segment called Swan Force Fridays, where we'll put our guests on the clock and give them 60 seconds to give us their best All right, we're done. We heard that part before. Corey, you said I forgot some product announcements. Why don't you take those?
Just got to get some more stuff in here. So wires are live for all of our users now. So if you're logged in and you just go in the top nav there, you can wire and do big one-time purchases. We've already had like 7-figure buys, but if you want to do upper 4-figure buys, we'll do anything like $5,000 and above. It's fine. So that's exciting. And then one-time buys is coming very soon. So people obviously have been wanting to lock in a price and just smash buy for a long time. And, we're not above that here, even though we're very zen with Swan and Chill and all that. We do like to double stack and triple stack and quadruple stack like an old Death Row album. So that'll be live probably the week of 11/30, looks like, for letting people in the beta there. And we'll just kind of roll it out to everybody. If you want to get it first, you got to sign up at swanbitcoin.com/buy now. Boom. There you go. What else? I mean, Bitcoin TV has just been live 24/7 OTT streaming channel, YouTube first, going to take it to Roku and Samsung and all the rest eventually. But yeah, bitcointv.network or cornhub.tv. You get there either way. What else we got, man? I don't know. So excited about the XPub stuff.
We've got, but we can't announce it yet. Next week.
Yeah, we got some other stuff coming up. Be good. Everybody go get more corn. All-time high is coming Saturday night, so look forward to that.
Is that part of your product update?
What's that? That's part of the product update. Yeah, all-time high is coming Saturday night. I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling it. I don't know. I just it feels different. I don't know. There's not like people care about the resist levels. Like nobody's TA charts work anymore because there's just so much buy pressure from actors that weren't around ever before. So I just don't think that people care at all. I think
Google search info, like search is not even close to the level it was in 2017. A friend of mine did a metaphor about Bitcoin. He was basically saying that you could almost think of like a bear market as kind of like the off season for football or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're prepping, you're getting ready, there's pain involved, all this stuff. And, and the bull run is like the actual season. But I actually think this is more like high school football or college football. We're not even close to NFL levels yet, if we're continuing the metaphor. So it's exciting times.
Absolutely.
At 248K. Yeah.
It's going to be tough. There's quite a sell wall up there at 248.1.
All right, gents. Where can the folks find you? Tell them why they should go to Atomic Finance and lead us out.
Yeah, if you believe in not giving away custody of your Bitcoin, if you believe in financial tools that are going to let you do what you want to do, be your own bank, then check out atomic.finance. Right now the election is just pending, but we're going to have some new things coming up on the webpage soon. So yeah.
Fine.
Atomic Finance is the best.
Tony Kai _ and Matthew J.A. Black on Twitter. Go follow them. Clearly they're funny. They got something to say. Do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get one final shill in there, which is we are at Bitcoiner Ventures. This is me, Stefan Livera, Jan Pritzker, and Louis Liu. We are looking at a couple of deals. So join the syndicate. Go to bitcoinerventures.com or look up Bitcoiner Ventures on AngelList and go ahead and get through that. And that gives you the right, but not the obligation to invest in deals that we find. But we've got a couple of exciting ones that we're working on. Working really closely with one of the teams and hoping to get that out sometime in the next month or two and give some folks an opportunity to invest in a great, well-known Bitcoin startup. So that should be really exciting. First deal was Unchained Capital. It's already been 6 months since that one, even though it feels recent. Time to do another one. So sign up, bitcoinerventures.com.
Definitely. All right, folks. Stay humble. Keep stacking. Keep swanning. We'll see you next time.